Welcome to the voice of St. Anthony Parish from Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL, 950 AM, 100.3 FM. And you can also hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. And don't forget to let other people know where you can find us. You can find us there. You can find us at WROL, WROLradio.com. We're airing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on weekdays, so check that out. That's Eastern Time. And you can check us out. There's also podcast there, and you can find us at your favorite podcast platform. Ask for Catholic Audio Media. So there you are. Well, anyway, here we are on Thursday of the first week of Easter, which is actually the octave of Easter. And the octave of Easter, as I've explained before, means that Easter is actually 8 days long. It's not one day. You think, well, Easter Sunday, midnight on Easter Sunday, it's Easter Monday. Well, in a sense, yes, that's true. That's absolutely true. But it's really, we celebrate it liturgically as if it's still Easter, and we do that all week. So if you've been going to Mass this week, that's why we do the Gloria every day. We do Easter every single day. And that's why. No, we don't use the same readings. We have different readings every day, but it is still Easter every single day. And it's still good for us to keep our spiritual exercises up. Now, you may have done something, hopefully you did something special for Lent. And by the way, I mean, I've seen this thing online and I don't fully understand it. Like, repenting of failing at Lent. Well, there is no sin. If you didn't know this, there is no sin if you have a Lenten discipline and things go wrong. There's no sin in that. A good example would be St. Louis de Montfort says, if someone decides that they're going to pray the rosary every day for the rest of their lives, which is something that St. Louis de Montfort recommends, or even for a certain amount of time, and you fail at it, he says, that's not even a sin. And I've had to tell people that, and others have to tell people at that, where they ask if it's a sin if they promise to do a rosary, for example, and they don't. They miss a day. No, that's not a sin. It's not even a sin because it's something that you chose to do. You tried to put a discipline together, but that doesn't always work. So if you by any chance failed in your Lenten discipline, is a word people have been using, and I wouldn't call it that, but anyway, if things went wrong with your Lenten discipline, don't consider yourself this evil, rotten sinner because you did. It's not even a sin. But it's a discipline to help build your spirituality. The other side is not to think, well, now that Lent is over, I don't have to do anything spiritual. No, it becomes a jumping board to more. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up, I am reading a great book by Tessa Bielecki. Now, I am not sure if any of you have any idea who she is. I know she's sold quite a few books, but a lot of people may not know who she is. She is actually, she's been a hermit for many, many years. She now is what she calls an urban hermit. And she, just as a side note here, I was talking to someone on Easter Sunday, and they went to see Herman's Hermits, who are playing up in New Hampshire. But that's not the same thing. It's a completely different thing. And as I was mentioning to you earlier, I was reading Interior Castle by St. Teresa of Avila, which is also something I'd highly recommend to you. But she wrote a book called Holy Daring. And let me kind of expand this so I can see this a little better. This is I'm doing this from my tablet, so I read just about everything on Kindle, and it's easier for me, and it's also, by the way, in case you didn't know that, it's easier to take notes. Now, I don't have a Kindle. I use a tablet with the Kindle app. I don't know if you can take notes with the Kindle itself, which is a wonderful thing too. And I know a lot of people are very angry at Amazon and everything else. Well, there are other forms of e-readers. I just happen to use the Kindle app. But Barnes & Noble has one. And there are others. There are all kinds of e-readers out there. But that's what I use because e-readers are just easier to deal with. And I'm always thinking of that Star Trek episode where the guy has real books, or even the more famous one, Twilight Zone, Time at Last with Burgess Meredith. Great stories about books, and granted, I'm using an e-reader, but that's okay. They still work. But anyway, the name of the book is called Holy Daring, The Earthly Mysticism of St. Teresa The Wild Woman of Avila. And as you can tell from the book itself, from the title of the book, it really does bring up this whole new, no, I shouldn't say new, it's not new at all, this understanding of spirituality. You see, one of the things, if you come to St. Anthony Parish, one of the things you'll learn that I almost said you'll learn me teaching you, such as good English. One of the things that you'll learn that I teach is Catholicism is more than rules. And if you really sum it up in rules, you miss the whole point. And I'm very strong on that. And I always point out that if you live the rules of Catholicism perfectly, you will have lived perfectly the minimum standard. So we don't go less than the rules. We don't break the rules. We don't say the rules don't count or anything else. But we don't make the rules the goal. We go above and beyond those. So you might say, well, I don't want to do anything harder than it already is. No, it isn't. That's the whole point. It's not like you have a goal to run a mile every day and then decide, well, it's my goal, but I'm going to try to run 2. Well, it's obviously harder to run 2. No, it's I'm going to pray every day and then explore the depths of prayer. Now, that's a whole different ballgame. And that's where Tessa Bielecki is coming from, and that also is where Teresa of Avila is coming from. I'm very much enjoying this book, and it talks about exploring the fullness of what it means to live that spiritual life. And that's really what we're called to do. So now that you've done Lent, now Easter's that time to explore that aspect of spirituality. We're going to talk more on the other side of the break. You're listening to St. Anthony Overnight from St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, right here on WROL and WROLradio.com. You can also find us at 950 AM, 100.3 FM. And don't forget, you can hear us at CatholicAudiomedia.com and your favorite podcast platform. We'll be right back right after this. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. And don't forget our own website, CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. And you can get to the parish that way. You can also get to the parish by going to stanthonyalston.org. And come to find out, we saw our statistics this week. Get them every so often. You would hardly be the only person that does that. There's quite a few people that visit Catholic at stanthonyalston.org. So check that out. And don't forget, you have a standing invitation to visit us every single Sunday at 10 o'clock a.m. Well, we're talking about now is the time to explore spirituality and really explore what it means to be Catholic. Always listen to the saints. And the saints always had this powerful relationship with Christ. It's extremely important to understand that. St. Teresa of Avila, in fact, used to refer to Jesus as His Majesty. So they always had this great experience, this great relationship with Christ. And Tessa Bielecki, in her book, actually explores that and talks about how Teresa really explored what it meant to be a Catholic and in her whole life, and how she brought prayer into everything. And one of the interesting things that she brings out is, as you know, I recommend, I'm very Eucharistic in my spirituality. So I recommend an hour a day in front of the Blessed Sacrament. And if you can't do that in the church or in a chapel nearby or something, you can do that through YouTube or some other streaming platform. I found this great, simple scenario coming from, I guess it's Australia. I think it's Australia. I can't remember the website right now. I'm sorry. But anyway, you can do that as well. But she explains, Tessa Bielecki explains that this same Teresa, she wasn't necessarily focused on, she was very Eucharistic, of course, but focused on going to in front of the Blessed Sacrament, and understand that she would visit her monasteries to see how they were going. So she would be, and she'd be building monasteries and having them. So she would be away, as Tessa explained, she would be away from the monastery and maybe have to stay in hotels or stuff like that. And remember, this is the 16th century. This isn't like staying at the Holiday Inn. So anyway, she would do that, and obviously a whole different ballgame. but she learned not only to spend time in prayer, but she would go out and pray in nature. I will talk to people and say, well, I don't have to go to church. I can go out to nature and pray to the Lord as well. Well, let me tell you, it's not an either or, it's a both and. Yes, you do have to go to church to share your spirituality with the Lord and his community in church, but you also need that time to be away from God, not away from God, you never want to be away from God, away from the community alone in prayer, and Jesus says that as well. So it's not either or, it's both and. So you want to do a little bit of both and. So consider that. But anyway, that's the book I'm reading for. Lent is over. That doesn't mean my spiritual exercises are over by any stretch of the imagination. Again, it's Holy Daring, the Earthly Mysticism of St. Teresa, the Wild Woman of Avila, which I found from Amazon. I don't know if there's a hardcover copy of the book. There probably is. From Tessa Bielecki, Bielecki. That's Bielecki. Let me see if I can find the name of the publisher. The name of the publisher is Adam Cadman Books. It's a joint imprint of Monkfish Book Publishing from Rhinebeck, New York. And this edition is copyright 2016, originally copyright 1994. So anyway, that's Tessa Bielecki. Anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with Father Adriano Zandana. Have yourself a blessed day, and we'll be enjoy the rest of the Easter octave. If you would like to support our program, please consider a donation to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. There are several ways to consider this. One is to purchase any of our merchandise, which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. There are coffee mugs there. There's also my latest book, Encounter Christ in Your Humanity, all of which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can also donate to the show directly through either the Donate tab, also at CatholicAudiomedia.com, or by sending a donation through the U.S. Postal Service with your questions and comments at 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. That's St. Anthony Parish, 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. Finally, the best way you can support our parish is to attend Mass on Sundays at 10 o'clock and be a part of our parish. We thank you for any support you would like to give to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, the sponsoring parish for this media outreach to Catholics and other Christians in the WROL, WEZE, and podcast listening audience. In Cristo vivimos.